So we have a dramatic plot twist in the story of the NFL's biggest enigma. Now, if you paid attention at all over the last day, you likely know where I am going, but it's possible that you actually have things going on in your life and that you do not consume the sporting media the way some loser like me would consume it. So the often talked about troubled Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson is facing more legal problems. You see, the creepy quarterback has new allegations that have been leveled against him. On a Monday, the news came down. Watson, who played like flatulence against the Cowboys, just one first down in the first half. Deshaun Watson on Monday then had an even worse day as he found out he is being sued in Houston, his old stomping grounds there, for sexual assault and battery. Now, this is different than those other lawsuits, although it sounds the same. Also, the lawsuit accusing Watson of intentional infliction of emotional distress. The accusations, for many, are considered cookie cutter to those made against Watson back in 2021 when over 20 women filed lawsuits. Now, there's one big difference here. And the plaintiff in this new case, who's going under the name Jane Doe, not using their real name, contending that she went on a date with Watson, that they did not meet on social media, that they met at a restaurant. Those other cases arose from Watson paying for the touchy-feely, paying for the, hey, I need my twig and berries massaged and all that. Those were arranged on Instagram and other social media accounts, most of them, if not all of them. So let us discuss this new story. And the question for the esteemed panel, give me your reaction to the latest legal issues for Deshaun Watson. So I've got ZZ Top, Taylor Shop, and Paragraph 42. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to go against the tide is what we're going to do. So, number one. Yes, Deshaun Watson is a romantic. He wanted these women to learn how the tush-push works. That's what this is all about. But seriously, just about every one of these stories has a similar story attached to it, right? And the latest lawsuit was filed by Tony Busby. Now, that name likely rings a bell if you remember the other lawsuits, because just about all of them he was the lawyer for. He's your classic. If you were to describe what a lawyer from Texas would look like, there's Rusty Hardin and then there's Tony Busby. Very similar in terms of their style, over the top and all that. So Watson, in the other lawsuits, has shown that he is an ATM, that if you sue him, he will pay for your silence. And most of the women have accepted that money, and he's very happy to pay the hush money. He's got no problem with it. But at this point in time, we're not sure exactly how much Watson has paid out. There's conflicting reports. They're all signed, sealed, under wraps, so we don't know exactly how much is out there. The Deshaun Watson camp says it's not much. There's other people saying, well, it's a lot. It's a lot. We don't know. And so you'd think that Watson's following the Oscar De La Hoya model. There was a story years ago about De La Hoya that I heard that he had like a cookie-cutter legal form. You know, some people go to LegalZoom and you get the legal forms and all that online. There's other websites like that, other apps. And at this point, Deshaun Watson's just got a standard form that you just fill out. You know, what's your claim? How much do you want? When do you want to get the payment? And it's like it's very formulated. It's machine-like at this point. The latest accuser against the Cleveland Browns quarterback, Deshaun Watson, the woman said that they were scheduled to go on a date. They had met at a restaurant. Watson could not seem to find where the woman lived. He got lost. He was upset. She claims this happened several years back, but she's claiming he was upset and was rude on the phone. Finally, he showed up. Watson went in the other room. She said she was putting her makeup on in the bathroom, and she was talking to Watson, she says, trying to calm him down. Watson was not responding, and so the woman in the lawsuit is claiming, well, I was a little surprised by that, so I walked out because he was quiet, and I went into the room, the bedroom, and Watson, according to the lawsuit, I want to read this word for word here. I don't want to get any juicy detail wrong. According to the legal papers, she came out of the bathroom to try to find out what was going on with Watson. He was buck naked on the bed, lying face down on his stomach. So you might imagine his badunkadunk was in the air everywhere. So the woman, Jane Doe, stood there. She said she was in shock. She could not believe this. Watson turned his head and, according to the lawsuit, aggressively insisted that she massage him, gesturing to her buttocks, or his buttocks. And then the woman said, what do you want to get, a massage in your back? Watson again indicated that it was his tushy, that he would like to have the massage on there. And Watson, it turns out, his favorite group, a lot of people don't know this, he's from the South, you think maybe some country group. No, he likes ZZ Top, and his favorite jam is Tush. That he loves it, right? He loves it. Ain't asking for much. I said, Lord, take me downtown. I'm just looking for some Tush. And that's all Watson's looking for. That's all he's looking for. Now, page 2 here. The question that must be asked is, how much trouble is Deshaun Watson actually in this latest lawsuit? And several years ago, and you have to understand that you can accuse anyone of anything in a lawsuit. People do it all the time. When there's a pattern like this, though, it raises attention. People are like, well, wait a minute. Could you convince 25 seemingly random women who don't know each other to file a lawsuit? And the counter argument is, well, yeah, if they see that Watson's going to pay money, there'll be copycats, but then you have to have some evidence. You have to have had some kind of relationship with Watson, so there's that factor to it. But in terms of the root question of how much trouble Deshaun Watson is actually in with this latest case, it's really just more of the same. His reputation is terrible. It doesn't change the man's reputation. His reputation is already what it is. I mean, he's got his own personal deal at the tailor shop, Watson's Tailor Shop, where they're able to put that scarlet letter on everything. He's radioactive. But from a wide-angle lens, this is not a criminal matter. It is not. And so Watson is not in jeopardy of losing his freedom. It's a civil case. And so the NFL has shown you can do this, and they don't really care. Roger Goodell used to be the hammer on stories like this, and Goodell would be the draconian commissioner who would punish players. But when it was time to act, with all of the evidence against Deshaun Watson, they slapped him on the wrist. Not even a slap on the wrist. It was more like, all right, you can't eat, you got to go to bed. You didn't eat your vegetables. Go to bed early. No video games for like an hour. Now, it's possible that they'll add a couple more games or some kind of fine. But these are accusations. It's a he said, she said, or in this case, a she said, he said situation. In this latest example, which is out there, you just add this woman to the harem of other women who have given similar versions of events. But this is the different one because it stands out, claiming that there was sexual assault, which is another way of saying rape, that took place. Now, it's clear that Watson, this is his fetish. Like based on what's been going out there, he loves aggressive cuddling. He loves that, playing Dungeons and Dragons, the X-rated version. Now, the final point here, as we put the bow on this, what will the Browns do? What will the Cleveland Browns do with Deshaun Watson in this latest update? So if you haven't figured this out yet, it's rather obvious. The Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson have a dysfunctional relationship. There's this odd codependency. The Browns owner was so horny to get a franchise quarterback that he gave Deshaun Watson a jaw-dropping guaranteed contract, sight unseen, in the middle of this original story, knowing that it wasn't good and gave him the money. Show me the money. All right, so Watson's been dreadful, right? He's been absolute dreck for the Browns, but yet they continue. Now, Cleveland, and this is where it gets interesting, and the most interesting part of this story, since it's not a criminal story and the NFL doesn't seem to care what the players do, Cleveland could, in theory, use this as a silver bullet to get out of the Watson contract, to put the contract in a paper shredder, to destroy all the digital evidence. It's all about paragraph 42. It's all about paragraph 42. Did Watson disclose the specific claim that has been made to the Browns in writing? Is there a paper trail that Watson and his attorney say, well, this woman might sue me? Did he let that be known before he signed the contract? Now, as I understand it, if he did, he's fine. If not, the Browns could go with the nuclear option and could void $92 million in guaranteed money. $92 million. Now, for that to happen, the NFL would have to punish Deshaun Watson before the start of next season, the 2025 season. And if Watson did not let the Browns know, there is language in the contract, paragraph 42, and that's where things get a little foggy for Deshaun Watson, because the language says that he would have defaulted on his contract by not disclosing said claim, and it would void all guaranteed money, thus allowing Watson to become a free agent, and then he could go play for another team in the NFL that will say all he needed was a change of scenery.